Yo, what's going on, everybody? You are watching Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman, and coming up on today's show, we got some big-time injury updates around some key players on this Vikings roster heading into the Week 7 matchup against the Eagles, and also some big injury news from Philadelphia's side as they could be missing two key starters on offense. But I do want to share with you guys this here first. Alec Lewis tweeting this out saying Kevin O'Connell said quarterback Carson Wentz is being further evaluated with the shoulder injury suffered in yesterday's game. He tweeted this out yesterday. Sounded like he came in pretty sore, one to watch. And, honestly, I'm just shocked right now. Like, the Vikings already soft benched J.J. McCarthy, and now we're going to soft bench Carson Wentz, and we're going to say he's got a made-up injury. Like, what are the Vikings doing? Stop soft benching some of your best players. Obviously, I'm joking right here. I'm shocked that Diana Rossini's not tweeting out that, the Vikings are soft benching Carson Wentz now that he's got a, shoulder injury. But, hopefully Wentz is all right. And it would put the Vikings in a tough spot. Like, let's just say Wentz does have to miss a week or two, and JJ's not 100%. Like, I would be very, very curious how the Vikings handled it. Would they just kind of force JJ to go out there, rush him back a little bit, or would they turn it over to Max Brosmer? We'll see what happens. But hopefully Wentz is all right. Obviously took a massive hit in that Browns game Week 5. But some great news here. J.J. McCarthy is expected to return to practice along with Donovan Jackson, Blake Cashman, and Michael Jurgens. This was all coming in from Kevin O'Connell yesterday. He said J.J. is going to start the ramp up this week, and then hopefully he can hit the ground running the week of practice before the Eagles game, which is massive because, one, this guy needs the reps. And obviously he needs the in-game reps, but he also needs the practice reps. Him not being able to practice the last 2 weeks is detrimental to his just progression and his development. So it's fantastic that JJ is back. And then also D-Jack, Cashman, and Jurgens getting some positivity here. And the Vikings are slowly getting healthy. And that's why I want to ask you guys this. Because I think a lot of people, if you ask a common NFL fan, what do you think about the Minnesota Vikings? I don't really think people have too good of an answer because you really don't know who the 2025 Vikings are. They've been incredibly beat up. 2 international games, just a lot working against them, and then they're 3-2. So I don't really think people have too good of a feel on who this version of the Vikings are. But I'll ask you guys this. Are the Vikings a dangerous football team? Give me a Y for yes or give me an N for no. You guys, let me hear your thoughts. I think 110%. You overcame a whole lot to start this season. Now you're getting a lot of key guys back. And I think this team might peak at the right time finally in the Kevin O'Connell era. But let's talk about J.J. McCarthy here. So him coming back, one, I think is huge for his development, but also I think it's huge for this offense because even though I think maybe, specifically Week 7 or Week 8, Carson Wentz would give the Vikings a slightly better chance to win those football games as he has been more in a rhythm with the offense. He's gotten 3 games under his belt. But I think if the Vikings want to go achieve their goals this season, it comes down to J.J. McCarthy developing. Hopefully, by, Thanksgiving, Christmas time, like this guy is in full command of the offense, and they're really starting to get something going. And also, JJ, he was without Christian Darrisaw. He was without Jordan Addison, so I can't wait to see him with this full group of weapons. And KOC, I think his play calling has been much better with Wentz compared to what it was with JJ. So he's starting to get going as well. But Darren Wolfson disagrees. Vikings beat reporter saying, I wouldn't be shocked if Carson Wentz is the QB against the Eagles. I'm of enough concern that we won't see JJ until November. Now, obviously, be reported for Vikings saying this, most people would buy it. I'm not buying it at all. Darren Wolfson, and I don't mean to, not trying to take a shot at him by any means. He does great work, but he also has had a lot of misses in the past, specifically with injuries. So I'm not really buying it. And plus, on top of that, Diana Rossini was also saying that JJ is going to miss Week 7. So Wolfson's saying it, Rossini's saying it. J.J. McCarthy's back. Obviously kind of joking there, but I do think J.J. McCarthy has a good chance because if he is practicing this week and he's going to get more ramped up the following week, I think he will for sure, maybe not for sure be out there, but I think he's got a 90+% chance to play Week 7 against the Eagles, and they need him back out there. Now listen, there is no easy time to put J.J. McCarthy back in the lineup. Like the Vikings schedule over the next, honestly the rest of the season, it's a gauntlet. Like, there is no cakewalk game. It's not like you have, like, the Saints at home or the Panthers at home or the Jets at home. You don't really have any of those easy opponents where you can kind of give JJ a soft launch into the rest of the season. But they need him back out there because, again, all the goals this football team had before the season, they are still very achievable. But you're not going to achieve those with Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz did a great job for a backup quarterback. That's what a backup quarterback's supposed to do. Your starter misses 3 games. Try your best to for sure win one of those 3, but then Carson had the icing on top. He got us a second win. That was massive, but this is JJ's football team, and I promise you, I know a lot of people are down on this guy after the first 8 quarters he played. Give this guy time. He's an absolute dog. He will develop nicely. He truly can be one of the better quarterbacks in the NFC. I got full faith in him, so hopefully number 9 gets back out there and plays some good football. But huge injury for the defense. The Cashman, Blake Cashman. Hopefully he's back. Now, obviously dealing with that hamstring injury that he suffered week 1 against the Chicago Bears. Shout out to that turf over there in Soldier Field, some of the worst in the game. But, hamstring injuries are tricky, but we know how important this guy is for the defense. He's that green dot caller. And obviously with Flores showing a lot of exotic looks, it forces offenses to adjust at the last second, and then it forces the Vikings to react again right before the ball is snapped. And that's where Cashman is so key. Also, him against the run, him in the short pass, or short, quick game passing game and coverage, he is fantastic as well. So getting him back will be huge. And same with Donovan Jackson. You talk about guys needing to develop. This guy was a first-round pick. He looked great against the Bears, struggled against the Falcons, kind of hit or miss to start this season. But I liked what I have seen on tape from him. So getting him back, that will be huge as well. And then also another guy coming back, Michael Jurgens. Now, I think the question becomes with Jurgens is, will he start at center? Ryan Kelly on short-term IR. So the battle is going to be between Blake Brandel and Jurgens. And let's just assume with Donovan Jackson coming back this week, he'll be at left guard, Dickerson at left tackle, Will Fries at right guard, probably still going to be Justin School at right tackle. And maybe they try to put Blake Brandel at right tackle and then Jurgens back at center just to get your 5 best offensive linemen out there. But I would probably have to give my best guess here. I would say Blake Brandel is going to be the guy that starts, and then Justin School at right tackle. But what do you guys think? Who do you think should start at center? Give me a 65 for Michael Jurgens. Give me a 64 for Blake Brandel. You guys, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. I'll be typing my 64s. I thought Brandel showed enough in that game against the Cleveland Browns, holding his own against a very good defensive line. So I'll be typing my 64s down below. Now we got an Andrew Van Ginkel injury update and some injury news around the Eagles, around 2 of their key starters on offense. We'll break that down here in a second. But before we do that, got to tell you guys about today's sponsor, and that is PrizePicks. Now, download the PrizePicks app today and plug in promo code CLNS, and we'll hook you guys up with $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Now, you and I make decisions every day, but on PrizePicks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this football season on PrizePicks, where it's good to be right. PrizePicks is the only app that offers stacks, meaning you can pick up to the same player up to 3 times in the same lineup. You want to pick more on Justin Jefferson, receptions, receiving yards, and touchdowns. Now you can put all of them in the same lineup only on PrizePicks. And you can also follow other players directly in the PrizePicks app and copy their lineups in just one click. Whether it's one of your friends, celebrity, or someone's picks who you like, hit the follow button and check out every lineup they create in the new feed tab on PrizePicks. So download the PrizePicks app today. Plug in promo code CLNS, get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. But massive shout out to PrizePicks for sponsoring today's show. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. All right, I forgot about this. We also have no update on Brian O'Neill. Kevin O'Connell didn't really talk about him. Now, I do think it's interesting the Vikings did not put him on short-term IR, so I will say he does have a chance to play against the Eagles. Just we haven't really heard anything just yet, so I'm not going to speculate too much, but I will say having him back, that could be huge. We could be looking at the Vikings offensive line week 7 against the Eagles, Dickerson, O'Neill, Jackson, Fries, and then whoever hell you want to plug and play at center. You would have 4 of your 5 starters, which, with how the season has gone, that's going to feel like Christmas morning having 4 of those 5 guys out there. So hopefully O'Neill's ready to go. But again, if he's not, probably week 8 against the Chargers on that short week. Maybe they go extra cautious and give him that mini bye week, and then he's back week 9 in Detroit against the Lions. But we'll see how that plays out. Now, here's probably the most concerning injury update on the Vikings front. Ben Gessling, a very trusted Vikings beat reporter, said Van Ginkel's neck injury is worth continuing to watch pretty closely. Now, I've said this a lot over the last couple of weeks because we had that concussion earlier, came back against the Bengals, only played 8 snaps, but then he missed the next 2 weeks with a neck injury, and I'm concerned about Andrew Van Ginkel because these neck injuries are tricky. This could be something that lingers throughout the entire season, and with Van Ginkel being such a physical football player, this dude hits, he puts his body on the line every week. A neck injury is definitely something to monitor, and also him and Cashman, they are so important to this defense. I've been saying it over and over again. They are the second and third most important and best players on that side of the football. So you need both those guys back. The Vikings haven't been able to stop the run at a high enough level so far this season. Now, I'm going to chalk that up to Van Ginkel and Cashman not being in the lineup. Some people think it's because Harrison Phillips isn't there, and I would buy more into that if some of the other defensive tackles weren't playing well, but I've loved what I've seen from Levi Drake Rodriguez. Jalen Redmond's obviously having a massive breakout year, so I'm going to chalk that up more to AVG and Cashman not being in the lineup, but they need both those guys back. We know Andrew Van Ginkel is just a hellraiser for opposing offenses, so hopefully they get back out there. Shout out to both those guys, though. Love watching them play, and hopefully they play football here for the Purple and Gold shortly. But on the Eagles side of things, Jeff McClain tweeting out, of the 3 Eagles who were an estimate DNP on Monday's injury report with them playing on Thursday night against the Giants, Saquon Barkley is expected to be ready, but definitely something to monitor. But biggest injury here, Landon Dickerson, one of the best offensive guards in the league. He is saying he could miss the next 1 to 2 games, which would be huge. Like if they, obviously backup offensive line play is terrible right now in the NFL, and I think if there's a one position group where you see the biggest drop-off across the NFL from starters to backups, it is 110% offensive linemen. I mean, we've experienced this as Vikings fans 100%. And if those guys aren't able to go, like, Week 7 will be a tone setter. Like, the Vikings should be 100%, or not 100%. They should be getting closer to 100% on the injury side of things. And if you could somehow get a win against the Eagles, you move to 4-2. Like, what's the conversation we're having that next Monday? We're saying with everything the Vikings overcame, you just beat the Super Bowl champs at home. You're 4-2, still well in play to win the NFC North and make the playoffs in the NFC. Like, everything is still out in front of them. Like, I am, losing my freaking mind about Vikings fans acting like the season's over. Like, guys, it has been a season from hell to start, and we're above 500. Now, yes, you could get humbled very quickly with this schedule. Like, listen, it's fully on the table. The Vikings lose all 5 of these games, but also it's on the table that they win all 5 of these games. Like, nobody knows who this Vikings team is, which is also why I absolutely love the NFL, because it is a soap opera. It is your favorite TV show that drops a new episode every week, and we don't know what's going to happen. I mean, this past week against the Browns, we were talking about Max Brosman getting in there in the second half. Like, we had Carson Wentz, Xavier Scott being the top running back at a point when Mason had to get out of the lineup. Like, you truly never know what's going to happen. But if you get a win against the Eagles, you move to 4-2. Chargers are kind of derailing a little bit. I mean, it is on the table that the Vikings are 5-2, heading into Detroit, taking on the Lions, which also the Lions, they got the Chiefs this weekend. They dropped that game. Maybe they're 5-2 as well when we're taking them on in Detroit, which would be a massive, massive game. And then hopefully you have a get-right game against the Ravens and the Bears the next 2 weeks at home. But speaking about the Week 7 matchup, Vikings-Eagles. I absolutely hate this football team. I hate the Eagles more than anything. If I had to pick my biggest rival in the entire NFC that's not in division, it's probably Philadelphia. They beat us 2017 in the NFC Championship game when we had a Super Bowl at home on the line. Can't stand this group. Nothing would make me feel better than the Vikings getting a win Week 7 against them. So who you got? Give me a V for the Vikes, or give me an E for the Eagles. I'll catch you guys next time. As always, Skol Vikes.